Get ready for Better Together with Kenny and Carol.
Hello, 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 hello. Greetings to everyone. I am Kenny.
And I'm Carol.
And welcome to this thing that we do together called
Better Together.
Amen. This is the little husband and wife thing that we do from the comfort of our home, from our dining table here in the big city of Statham, Georgia. Hello, sweetheart. Al, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
No, it's great looking out the window. We've just been blessed to live in a wonderfully beautiful place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look out and see the trees and the people that are walking and riding bikes. So it's good to be with you here. You know, we took a brief hiatus away from this thing Better Together, right?
We did. We celebrated Father's Day.
Yeah.
Had a little family vacation, and we even celebrated your birthday, Mr. Lumpkin.
Yeah. We've had some exciting things to kind of occupy our time, but it's just really good to be back at the table and talking about the things that you and I quite honestly just share as part of our normal conversations as we're walking and riding bikes. So I'm really glad to be back here with you. I've missed it. It was just an important part of my life that wasn't there. So I'm glad to be back with you. We still got a lot of big things coming up, right?
We do. And this upcoming week, we got our oldest daughter's going to be celebrating her birthday.
Yeah.
We got an anniversary coming up, and we also got to get Vanna back to college.
Yeah.
And speaking of college, Mr. Lumpkin.
What's up?
So proud of you. You just finished up your third master's degree.
Oh,
congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. You know, I really have enjoyed this matriculation in the marriage and family therapy world, right? You know it. You've watched me spend time there. So it's really been exciting, and I'm looking forward to sharing a lot of the things from that coursework with our listeners as we talk about how to build and grow stronger couples, how to grow stronger marriages, and how to grow stronger families. You know, we've been talking about what's happening in our world around this thing of marriages. And so I'm looking forward to the things we're going to be discussing in the coming days and months along the lines of marriage and family. So I'm excited about that. But I did hear you say we got an anniversary coming up, so I appreciate the heads up on that one.
And you better figure out how many years it is by the time we get to that day.
Well, thank you again for the heads up. Well, you know, we got to go to work because we're closing out this series that we have so gracefully entitled Relationships, right? Mm-hmm. And let's just kind of bring our audience up to speed on how we got here and why we kind of rallied around for our very first series this topic of relationships. Help us to get to where we are today.
Well, you know, relationships are real important, and in order to be successful, you need to be in good relationship with others.
Yeah. I know for us, you and I have talked about this, we wouldn't be who we are without the relationship of each other.
That's right.
So I agree with you 100%. And relationships, obviously, they start for you and I. It starts as husband and wife, right? Mm-hmm. Being, being one in the body of Christ.
That's right. In marriage, as we've often talked about, you have the three strands of the cord.
Oh man, you're coming from Ecclesiastes.
That's right. And we both know that God has to be in it.
Amen.
So he's the most important part.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You know, you and I have talked before, like when I look at you, I'm not just looking at you, but I'm looking, I see God standing next to you.
Right. That's right.
And so we're all in this thing together. So when I abandon you, in a lot of ways, I'm abandoning God, right?
That's right. And
Yeah.
vice versa. I can't mistreat you or abandon you without doing the same.
Yeah.
So,
So it is a very important component and something that's really special to us. And we've offered some tools. You recall back when we did this series on marriage, we offer some tools for couples to look at, to think about, and we're going to be talking about those tools in future podcasts. But if you're dating, if you've been married 20 years, 30 years, or like us, 35 years, there's some things you can do to strengthen your marriage, right?
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
we're excited about that. Then we transitioned, Ms. Carol, from that to talking about the relationships beyond the man and the woman to the children and the extended family. And how do you nurture and grow with your kids as they get older, right?
Yes. And as your kids grow and mature, we must do the same as parents.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sometimes parents make the mistake of attempting to raise their children how they were raised.
Oh boy.
And as we know, that can sometimes be challenging.
It can. It backfired on us a little bit with our oldest. We got raised a certain way, really strict, and we tried to implement that in our home and didn't really go well. But we were doing it out of love. But it's
Right.
because we didn't know any other way, right?
Right, right. So as we learned and as we grew, then we did things a little bit different.
Yeah. So by the time that second one came along, we had a little different perspective, right?
Yes,
Did
we
things a little
did.
differently, but they both, I'm pleased to say, as you know, Miss Carol, they both turned out very well. We're just thankful to God that they
We
both
are.
have grown up in the admonition of the Lord, and they both understand the importance of their faith walk. And so we have been really blessed in
That's
that
right.
regard.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So, and we also spent some time as we were talking about the family, the children. We talked about how the families look differently today, right? We talked about how almost 40% of all marriages today are remarriages, right? And this is people that have been married before that are getting married again. And out of those remarriages, it creates what's called blended families, which is where you got step siblings, you got step-in-law, step-parents. You got all of these dynamics now that are happening in these marriages. And this is new. This is new for a lot of people. And so they don't know how to navigate through it. And so we offered some very good tools and resources on how to navigate through those type of realities today. And so we invite people to go back, check out that episode. I think it was episode
number 2.
Yeah. Check it out. We left some really good tools in the show notes that I think will help you as you kind of navigate through what really has become the new normal. Yeah. And then I think we took a little break in June as we kind of recap how we got here. We had that big Father's Day kind of special episode, right?
We did. I would have to say, even though I say this after every episode, but Father's Day was my favorite.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, because our girls kind of shared some things on Father's Day that we both were amazed by, and we learned some things from our girls.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I shared with you that just blew me away, one of them said, "Dad, you were my first love."
Yeah, that's so sweet.
Yeah, that was a priceless moment, and I'm so glad we got that time together at the beach to record a live recording with our girls. Nothing rehearsed; it was just straight from the heart.
The best Father's Day ever.
It
right?
really was. I said that while we were there, that this was really my best Father's Day. So I'm glad that God gave us that time together. So guess what, Miss Carol?
What?
That brings us to the last episode on relationships today. And so we're going to be talking about relationships as it relates to how do you get along on your job, relationships in your faith walk, relationships in your areas of service, things people may not ordinarily think about when they hear the word relationships. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about how, you should look at those relationships from a godly perspective. And so I'm looking forward to us diving into that in just a moment. What about you?
I'm looking forward to it. And when we think about relationships, we don't normally think about church or work, but that's exactly what we're going to be discussing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those are important relationships. We spend a lot of time at work, a third of our lives. A lot of our time is spent in church, at church, or church-related functions,
That's
faith-based type of activities, and then in the volunteer world, right?
That's right.
People are spending time in their areas of passion, so we're going to talk about that. Let's take a quick music break. I'm going to get me some coffee.
I'm going to get some decaf coffee. Is yours decaf?
No, it's regular. Can't you tell how wired up I
know.
am?
I'm going to get you some decaf too.
We'll be right back. So let's do a quick shout out as we get ready to rock and roll here. Mom, we're going to give a nonprofit shout out. We like to do that each episode because there are a lot of nonprofits around us that are doing tremendous work. And you and Vanna had the opportunity this summer. You guys had a special summer experience. So share with the audience your summer experience, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, the organization I would like to shout out is Camp Amplify. Me and Vanna had the opportunity to serve as camp nurses for a week.
Wow. On site for the whole week?
On site for the whole week.
Wow.
From Monday to Friday. And it was one of the most rewarding things I have ever done.
Wow.
And I'm sure Vanna would say the same. The organization gives children a chance to come to camp for a week. They don't have to pay for it. Mm-hmm. And it's children who normally wouldn't have an opportunity to come to camp.
To attend camp. Camp can be very expensive.
Very expensive.
Some of the nonprofit organizations I work with, camp can be up to $650 to $700 a week for those experiences. So you're saying these kids didn't have to pay anything?
They didn't have to pay anything. They came for free. And they were the most loving children I have ever met. You can spend 5 days with somebody and just fall in love.
And I can attest to that because when I talked to you guys on Friday, you had a little bit of separation anxiety, kind of a clinical term, but I could tell when the bus pulled away with the kids, I could feel the tears and sadness. It
was sad because a lot of the kids, I had bonded with them. They had bonded with us as well because a lot of them at nighttime would develop a stomach ache just so they could come hang out with the camp nurses.
Yeah, particularly that pretty young one, huh?
Particularly Carly.
I can understand.
Yeah, but it was just a wonderful experience. So if you're looking for an organization to support that's really doing great work, it would be Camp Amplify.
Yeah, great organization. And we salute and send shouts out to Chris and Lisa Tarver, the founders, and the team, the husband and wife team that drive with passion, run with passion, that organization. Great team of volunteers and supporters creating a unique camp experience every year. So hats off to Camp Amplify, and we are supporters, and we'll
Yes.
continue to support that great organization and
Absolutely.
all that they're doing.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about relationships outside of the family. For instance, Miss Carol, when we talk about that, what comes to mind when I start saying relationships outside of our family? What's the first thing that hits you?
Well, with today being Sunday, the first thing that comes to my mind is my church family. I have met a lot of good people at church, and we have become good friends outside of church.
Yeah, relationships, right? Yeah,
But
yeah.
it started at the church.
Isn't that something? And that's exactly what you would want to experience at church, is a place where you're building good, solid relationships on this faith walk. You've heard me say before, God created us to be relational, right?
That's right.
God didn't need us, but we need each other.
We need each
right?
other.
So when he sent his son, Jesus, into the world, Jesus spent 3.5 years in ministry work teaching us how to be relational
How to be in relationships.
with each other. And so it's really important that we learn how to be in relationships. So what we're going to do today, Ms. Carol, we're going to share with the audience. You and I have spent some time talking about what we think are our top 5 keys to wonderful relationships in terms of working through the church or faith-based environment, as well as volunteerism, and then on your jobs. We're going to talk about the 5 things that really need to be at the top of your list if you want to have strong relationships. So we're going to let you start off with number 1.
So number 1, to me, I would consider honesty.
Yeah.
It's being truthful, being sincere with the people that you work with or your church family.
Yeah. We think about honesty in relationships with each other, but do we think about it much when we're talking about with folks at work, in the nonprofit world, and in our faith-based walk, right?
We should.
Yeah.
We should, because people in those areas are expecting you to be honest.
Yeah.
As well as I'm expecting you to be honest.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So it crosses those areas also.
Yeah. You got to be a person of your word.
That's right.
You can't send out conflicting signals. You can't say one thing and then do another.
No.
So honesty is really important. There's a reason why it made our top 5. So thank you for sharing that. I'll jump to number 2. Number 2 on our list. We've talked about these and we've agreed on them. Respect. Is number 2, and this is from the standpoint respecting the opinions of others, whether it's in your faith walk, in your volunteerism, right, or even at work, particularly at work. I've heard
that can be hard.
It can be a
sometimes at
challenge,
work.
and you and I have heard the horror stories, right? And I think that's one of the problems that we're facing today in our beautiful world, and that is we're seeing too many examples of where when people don't agree with you, when you don't align with them, when you don't share a political party affiliation or title with them, they tend to think you don't have anything in common. And so there's a level of disrespect as opposed to respect, right? So I made a note here that we've just got to learn to respect everyone's right to be heard. And one of the people that helped me to really understand this was an author named James Peterson. And he wrote a book entitled, Why Don't We Listen Better? And Mr. Peterson said the reason we don't listen better is because we're listening to respond and we're not listening to hear.
Have you ever been talking to somebody and before you can finish your sentence, they're already answering
Absolutely.
their response?
Absolutely.
So it's like, are you listening to me?
Yeah. And when we do that, it lets the person that was talking know we don't even care nothing about what you said because we were listening to respond.
That's right.
So I think it's really important for people that want to be in relationships, in a nonprofit walk, in an employment, in a faith walk. you really need to start listening to hear and not to respond.
I
You agree with that?
I totally agree. I'm gonna start practicing that more myself.
Well, you do a good job of it. You're really, a lot of times when we're silent after people talk, we can learn things, right? Mm-hmm. But when we're so busy trying to respond or developing a position or a comeback or a counter or a butt to what they said, right?
That's right.
It totally negates everything that the person said, and it creates an adversarial relationship, and that's not what you want to be in. We're talking about good relationships.
Good relationships.
Yeah, and if you want to be in bad relationships in your church, in your work, in your volunteer world, you carry a bunch of butts in your conversations, right? Mm-hmm. You cut people off in their conversations. You don't listen to them to hear. You listen to respond, and you're going to surround yourself with a lot of the bad things that we don't want you to end up with.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
All right, so that's number 2, respect. We're talking about the top 5 things that you really need to wrap your arms around if you want strong relationships beyond your immediate family. What's number 3, Miss Carol?
And number 3 is communication.
Yeah.
And this has come up again for a second time. This was on our top 5. In our husband and wife,
yeah,
was most important.
Yeah, you gave 5, I gave 5, and I think we both agreed that communication was on that list.
Made both of our list. And same here, communication is important when you're with your work environment, your nonprofit environment, or your church family.
Yeah.
You got to be able to talk to the leaders. Relationships without communication, they tend to not last very long.
Yeah.
The right hand, you got to be in communication because
Absolutely.
The right hand has got to know what the left hand is doing.
That's right.
So you've got to communicate with people so we can all be going in the same direction.
But, Paul talked about there are many members of the body, right?
That's right.
But they don't all do the same thing.
No.
But the way they function together is they communicate with each other, right?
To each other.
Yeah, the brain
right.
is the central nervous system, the piece that keeps everything functioning together. So if you're going to be in good communication as part of relationships beyond your immediate family, build in some ways to keep communication strong throughout all the different channels, from the president of the company all the way down to the first line worker, volunteer. The volunteers in your organization need to know what's going on,
That's
right? Even though if they may not have a seat at the table when a lot of those strategic decisions are being made, they need to understand what's happening.
That's right. Very important.
Yeah,
Very important.
I like that one. So communication. Like that, Miss Carol. Number 4, I think it's my time, right?
Yes. What's number 4?
This one's interesting because this one may not make the traditional list for most people, but as you know, I'm real high on EQ, emotional quotient, versus IQ. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we get measured based on our IQ, but the best companies we find and the best organizations look at people's EQ, their emotional quotient. And your emotional quotient is that measurement of how much you care.
That's right.
Your capacity to care beyond self. So number 4 is empathy. Empathy is this thing where you learn to step in other people's shoes, right? It's the feeling beyond yourself. It's not feeling sorry for someone, which is a misnomer at times. Feeling sorry for someone, that's sympathy, right? But we're talking about empathy. Empathy is that thing that causes you to do something about it.
Right. It pulls on your heartstrings.
It pulls on your heartstrings. Sympathy is you see that guy on the corner that's homeless, and you go by and say, that's a poor guy, right? And then you keep driving. Empathy is where you look at that situation and you start feeling compassion for it and wanting to do something about it, right?
Yeah.
It causes you to want to get involved and to make a difference. And so as it relates to relationships in the space we're talking about, which is work and nonprofit work and volunteerism and in our faith walks, we've got to have empathy and listen to the stories of the people around us. And this ties into communication.
Yes.
You
it
got to
does.
listen to the stories, but you got to listen not to respond, but listen to hear. And if you're doing that, you're practicing empathy, right?
That's right.
One of my
That's
favorite
right.
quotes you may recall from one of our late deacons, Deacon Johnson, used to always want me to say this quote. He could never get it exactly right. He said, "Tell me that quote that you often say." And the quote goes something like this: "People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care."
That's right.
That is the power of empathy.
That's right.
Nobody really cares about the number of degrees you have, how much you've matriculated. You got to impress people with how much you care about
That's
them.
right.
And that
That's
is a
right.
component that really we believe if you want to have strong relationships in your faith walk, in your work, and in your volunteerism, lead by being put yourself in a position to want to hear people's stories,
Right.
and then get into their stories,
Right. And want to do something
and do
about
something
it.
about it. Yeah. So I think that one's one of my favorites, Miss Carol.
Okay.
Any thoughts on that one?
I like that one. I like the quote.
Yeah, yeah. I use it a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
You know, I spent a lot of time in banking. The first person I actually heard say it was a banker. I won't call his name, but he was the president of a huge bank. And when I heard him say it, it just resonated, and I wrote it down.
Wow.
But since then, I've heard other people use it. But first time I heard it was probably 25 years ago.
Okay.
And it really it sets the course. If you're doing servant leadership work, that's the only quote you really need to remember.
Right. That's right. I agree. I agree with that.
All right, brings us to number 5. Close us out, Miss Carol.
Number 5, commitment.
Whoa.
Commitment. That's a huge one. Are people committed? Are you committed
I
to?
hear that a lot. What does it mean?
Well, are you dedicated? Are you devoted to whatever the cause is?
Yeah.
It goes back to the things that are all listed here.
Yeah.
If you're committed, you're going to be empathetic, you're going to be communicating, you're going to have respect, and you're going to be honest.
Yeah.
It all ties in together.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that everything's going to always go your way or go good, right?
You have to be committed to the cause on rainy days as well as sunny days. You have to be committed at all times. It doesn't mean I'm just going to hang in here with this organization when it's all good.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to hang in there when it's not good.
You know, and what's interesting about that, Miss Carol, is a lot of times you'll get tested. You'll be placed in a situation, whether you're in a leadership position or just a part of an organization, things will happen around you. And the easiest thing for you to do is to what?
Quit.
QUIT.
I'm out.
I'm out, you know. And it's, as you know, that's really important that for us, that we train our children in that way. You start something,
You got to finish.
you got to finish it.
You got to finish it. It don't matter if your team hasn't won a game. If you committed to doing this, you have got to stay with it till the season over.
You got to stay with
And
it.
the same with nonprofit or
Yeah.
church things or whatever.
Yeah.
If you committed to something, you finish it.
That's exactly right. You got to stay with it, and you know. So we encourage anybody that's out there that's involved doing the nonprofit work, that's working in the faith space, or even if you're doing employment work and you may not be completely happy, look for ways to do it better. Right?
That's right.
The easiest thing to do is to quit, but maybe you could be being pushed into your greatness by finding another seat on the bus, right?
Bloom where you have
Bloom where you're planted.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So keep that in mind. We think this is really important as you expand beyond your family and you build solid relationships, is to look at how you commit to something. And another word that comes to mind here is sacrifice.
Oh.
Yeah, commitment can't come without a what?
Without sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's right. You've got to give up something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you haven't giving up something, are you really committed?
Absolutely. It's easy to give up something that doesn't mean anything to you.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
Well, there's a lot of biblical stories around that. But if you're committed to something, it's gotta cost you something.
That's right. That's right.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, Miss
Amen.
Carol, I think we closed out our top 5. I hope the listeners like that. I enjoy sharing our top 5 stuff because
Me too.
it gives them something meaty to wrap their arms around and go back and dive into later after our show. I'm excited. We're closing out this series on relationships, and I'm looking forward to our next show, right? I'm excited. We're going to change gears a little bit. We're going to come back and talk about something that's really important to all men, and really not just men, but women who love men, like your
that's
father,
right.
your grandfather, your sons, and your husband. We're going to be rallying around the topic on prostate awareness during Prostate Awareness Month, which
That's
is
right. It's during the month of September.
September. So we're going to get this out before then, but we're gonna spend some time talking about things that people need to know as it relates to the prostate. And Ms. Carol, you are a nurse practitioner. I am just celebrated 60 years of existence, and
That's
so
right.
we're gonna share our experiences and hopefully let people in on some of our conversations that we've shared over the years, and we hope this will help strengthen people and give them something to think about as we talk about prostate awareness during Prostate Awareness Month. Right?
That's right. That's right. Next month, September.
September. All right, Miss Carol. Anything else you want to add before we close out?
I think we're good.
Thank you so much again.
you.
I love our time together, and I just thank God that we get to do this together. So be prepared, ladies and gentlemen, for the next episode. You don't want to miss it. I am Kenny.
And I am Carol.
And we are
Better together.